How does minimalism relate to the new social media trend of underconsumption core? Let's talk about that today. Hi, and welcome back to the cottage. First, right off the bat, some of you may be wondering what in the world underconsumption core even means. You've never heard of it before. And if that is you, you're not alone. This is a fairly new social media trend, probably within the last month or two. And even though I don't frequent social media that often, I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram or Facebook, I don't even have TikTok, I still hear about these trending things because I am on YouTube as a creator. And so let me enlighten you with what I know about this trend. So the way that social media has been working for the past 5 or 10 years is drastically different than the way it was set out to run. As a way for people to connect socially in a virtual setting, it's now become really all about marketing and promoting things, maybe ideas, but also products and services, and really inflating this idea of consumerism and almost glamorizing it in some degree. And as sad as that sounds, it really is the truth. Think about any time that you've interacted with social media, whether you're watching something or reading something, there's usually a lot of advertisements or even products that are being marketed to you directly. I know myself as a content creator, I'm reached out to dozens of times every single month from companies who want me to promote their product on my channel to all of you, my audience. And I am very, very selective about those that I choose to partner with. I think I've only done a couple here on my channel, and these are products that I was going to be purchasing for my home anyway, and so working through a brand deal just made sense. But I understand the incentive to do this type of marketing because it is a way for creators to make money. Whereas a person normally, if they were having typical consuming behavior, they would be thinking about items that they want for their own home, they need for their home, and they would do some research and search out a product. But now what's happening is that all of these products are coming to the consumer instead and being told that they really should buy this thing. It's so amazing. It's going to change your life. It's going to be incredible. You have to buy it. And they then tend to overconsume or consume outside of the realm where they normally would. So as you can imagine, underconsumption core is basically the opposite of this marketing scheme. It is saying that it's okay to just live with the belongings that you have, that you like, even if they're older, even if they're thrifted, that's okay. You don't need the latest and greatest and the thing that is really popular with the in crowd over here. We're going to do the opposite of that. Underconsumption core. The word core is really just a social media word that stands for your aesthetic. So the way that you dress, the way that you decorate your house or furnish your home. So underconsumption core is sort of going against the grain with how social media has been trending. So when I first heard about this trend of underconsumption core, I was doing a little bit of research on it, and I found a lot of similarities between that and minimalism. Because as a minimalist, I feel like my lifestyle really comes down to being a thoughtful and mindful consumer for a variety of reasons. There's the monetary aspect of things where, I don't want to spend extra money that I don't need to spend if I don't really need a product or want a product. There's the environmental aspect part of it where I don't want to buy something that in a couple months I'm going to be sick of and it's going to need to be thrown out or donated and may end up in a landfill someday. There's also the psychological impact of consumerism where if you have too many things, too much to manage in your home, it's going to be overwhelming. It can be bad for your mental health, honestly. And so all of those things factor into how I am as a consumer and how I live my life as a minimalist. And so I think that goes really step in step with underconsumption core. But as with any social media trend, there has been some backlash against underconsumption core from people who say that it's basically just glorifying the idea of being a cheapskate or being ultra frugal, maybe making it seem like you're poor when you're really not, because you could afford to buy these higher quality products or these newer products and you're choosing not to. And I think that that is just a silly argument against it, honestly, because if somebody has something that works for them and they don't want to buy something new or buy something trendy, that should be their choice. You shouldn't be mocked for that. Interestingly, I don't think that people who identify as minimalist really get that same type of pushback, even though the philosophies are very similar in a lot of ways. People see minimalist, I think, generally as someone who has a very curated aesthetic, who has really taken the time to pare down their things and then have them laid out in a beautiful way, and that things still look polished and things look tidy and clean and nice. And that is sort of the image I think that I portray on this channel, where I like to show what we have in our home and how I decorate and what I wear and all of these things in a very polished, collected way. And I don't want to give the impression to you that I don't still have some of those underconsumption beliefs, because I definitely do. And so today what we're going to do is go around the cottage and I'm going to share with you some things that could be considered underconsumption core, and just really show you that even with this polished look of minimalism, we still have items that are older, things that are worn out to a great degree. So many times with minimalism, it's talking about decluttering and getting rid of things and buying new quality things that can last a long time. Well, some of these items that I still have in my home are quality things that were purchased many, many years ago. And so they're still here for that reason. And I think that goes right along with my minimalist lifestyle. So, all right, let's go around the house. I'm just going to show you some of these things. Let's start out with probably the thing I've had for the longest time. It has been with me for over half of my life at this point, and that is this wool winter coat. So my sisters and I went on a shopping trip with my mom when I was either 17 or 18 years old, and she offered to buy each of us a warm winter coat, and I chose this one. I'm 43 years old now, so that makes it about 25 to 26 years I've had this coat, which is pretty amazing. As you can see, it does have a little bit of wear on it. Some of the zippers on the pockets aren't as good as they could be. I know I could have them replaced, but it serves its function of keeping me warm in the winter. The lining is still good, and I still think it's a classic piece that doesn't need to be replaced. And since we're here in the bedroom, here is another large example of underconsumption core, and that is our mattress. It's used every single night and has been going strong for 24 years. Now, before anyone is horrified by this idea, let me just state my case here. Number one, we've always had a good quality mattress pad and cover on it, which gets washed regularly and has been replaced multiple times. And the mattress itself is rotated and flipped twice every single year. So we're gonna hold on to it as long as it's still giving us a good night's sleep, which it is. Here in the master bathroom, these towels we have were purchased when we bought our first home 19 years ago. And as you can see, they are starting to get a bit ratty and worn along the edges. And I'll admit, they are likely going to be replaced soon, but I for sure believe we got our money's worth out of them. And thankfully, towels like these will gladly be accepted at an animal shelter when we're ready to donate them. Okay, in the kitchen, I actually have quite a few things, but I'm just going to show you a couple. Both this toaster and these glasses were on our wedding registry, and we've been married for 22 years now, and these have stood the test of time. The glasses used to be a set of 6, I believe, and there are only 3 remaining, but that's enough for us because we all have our own water bottles that we use on a daily basis, and so the glasses are really just for company, people that come visit us. The toaster, I don't know why we registered for such a large one when we were first married and just the 2 of us, but now that we have a big family, I am really happy that we have it. It actually has a funny story to go along with it. One side of this toaster actually seized up, and we were only able to toast 2 slices at a time instead of 4. And we limped along like that for a while, but then a couple of years later, it just randomly started toasting both sides again. And we never figured out what had happened, but I'm really glad that we didn't just toss it in the trash thinking that it was broken, because it wasn't, and it's still going strong all of these years later. If you look really close at this couch, you might be able to guess its age. It has definitely seen better days, but we've kept it around for the past 15 years because number one, it's super comfortable, and number two, we have kids. We like the idea of not worrying too much about furniture and keeping everything pristine and perfect while they are growing up in our home. And perhaps when they are all graduated and moving into their own places, they can inherit it if they want, and we can buy a replacement at that time. And I'm not going to show you my entire wardrobe, but it would definitely fall under that underconsumption umbrella. I would say about 85 to 90% of it is thrifted, including the outfit that I'm wearing today. I enjoy thrifting clothing for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is a lot less expensive. And number two, it is more environmentally responsible, I believe, because these items may have ended up in a landfill, and when I'm done wearing them, if they are still in good shape, I can donate them back and somebody else can get use out of them as well. And how about these eyeglasses? You've probably never seen me wear them unless you know me in real life, because I wear contacts and I only use my glasses in the evenings after I take a shower. But I purchased these about 15 years ago and my prescription hasn't changed since then, and so they're still useful. I know that the purple is probably not a trending thing anymore. It was popular at the time when I bought them, but I'm okay with that. I don't need to be trending when I'm at home in the evening hours. Down in our lower level, both this lamp and the recliner are 13 years old, but can you tell? I think they look almost good as new, and the reason I remember how old they are is because they were purchased right before our youngest son was born, and he's 13 years old now. And I think that the fact that they're both pretty neutral in their style and color and shape, it's allowed them to really stand the test of time. Well, I hope that was a little bit of an interesting insight into our home and some more specifics of some of the items that you've probably seen in multiple videos by now. And maybe it gives you a sigh of relief to know that we're just real average people. We have items that are older, items that are not trendy at all, and we're content with it. And so maybe it makes you feel like you can be content with that too. I just never want to give off the impression that to live as a minimalist, you have to declutter all the old and have this very polished look where everything is matchy-matchy and, pristine and clean. That's just not the case in our lives, and, like I said, we are content with that. We feel comfortable in that, and we really stand by that way of life. I would love to hear in the comment section below, what are some items that you have that you would consider sort of that underconsumption core? Maybe you've seen a similar product marketed to you, that, this is the greatest new thing, you have to get it, but you've been leery of that and you've just stuck with your tried and true item that you really just don't see any reason to get rid of at this point. Please leave me a comment down below and we can chat down there. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop by the cottage again really soon.